F6F Hellcat was the successor to the F4F Wildcat. It was an improvement in virtually every way. It had 6 50 caliber machine guns with plentiful ammo, a large powerful engine, the ability to carry a large amount of bombs and rockets. It was durable, simple to build and maintain, and was a reliable, effective weapon when serving as a fighter or a ground attacker. Grumman had been planning a replacement for the F4F since 1938, but the contract signalling the commencement of the replacement's construction, which would begin with the prototype F6F1, was signed on the 30th of June 1941. The aircraft was designed to use the Wright R2600 twin cyclone 2-row 14-cylinder radial engine, developing 1700 horsepower. Unlike the Wildcat's narrow-track hand-cranked landing gear, the Hellcat had wide-set hydraulically actuated landing gear struts which rotated 90 degrees while retracting backwards into the wings, much like that of the earlier Chance Vought Corsair. The designers of the F6F wanted it to be a resilient plane. They wanted it to be able to get the pilot safely back to base even after taking large amounts of damage. To this end, they fitted a thick bullet-resistant windshield, as well as nearly 100 kilograms of metal armor placing around the cockpit to protect the pilot. The area around the oil tank and oil cooler were also armored. The fuselage had a 250-gallon self-sealing fuel tank, and standard armament of the Hellcat was 6 50 caliber M2 Brownings, 3 in each wing, with 400 rounds per gun. There was a single hardpoint beneath the fuselage, which could carry a 150-gallon disposable drop tank. Later aircraft had a single bomb rack under each wing, and a hardpoint under the fuselage, which could carry either a drop tank or weaponry. Later F6F3s could carry a bomb load in excess of 2,000 pounds, as well as 6 5-inch HVAR rockets, 3 under each wing. The F6F5 featured a number of improvements over the 3, including a more powerful R2810W engine. This had a water injection system and a slightly more streamlined engine cowling. It had spring-loaded control tabs on the ailerons and an improved clear-view windscreen with a flat armoured glass front panel, replacing the F3's curved plexiglass panel. In addition, the refuselage and tail units were strengthened, and apart from some early production aircraft, the majority of Dash 5s built were painted in an overall gloss sea blue finish. The US Navy much preferred the more docile flight qualities of the S6F compared to aircraft like the Vought Corsair, despite the superior speed of the Corsair. This preference was especially noted during carrier landings, a critical success requirement for the Navy, in which the Corsair was fundamentally flawed in comparison. It was a large, heavy aircraft, which struggled to accelerate quickly over short distances, making carrier takeoffs difficult. The Corsair was thus released by the Navy to the Marine Corps, who, without the need to worry about carrier landings, used the Corsair to great effect in land-based sorties. But the F6F remained the standard US Navy carrier-borne fighter until the Corsair was finally cleared for US carrier operations in late 1944. A lot of experience gained by the Royal Navy Fleet Air Arm in Corsair takeoffs was applied to US Navy takeoff and landing tactics. As well as the Hellcat's good flight qualities, it was easy to maintain and had a very tough airframe, which was especially important for carrier operations because the plane was constantly being moved around and landings and takeoff could be quite tough on the airframe and the suspension. Much like the Wildcat, the Hellcat was designed for ease of manufacture and the ability to withstand significant damage without losing the structural integrity. The Hellcat first saw action against the Japanese on the 1st of September in 1943, when Hellcats based on the USS Independence shot down a Kawanishi H-8K Emily flying boat. Shortly after this, in late November, Hellcats engaged Japanese aircraft over Tarawa, and they claimed to shoot down 30 Zeros for the loss of 1 Hellcat. Over Rabaul in New Britain, a combination of Hellcats and Corsairs engaged the Japanese Navy in aerial dogfights lasting sometimes up to a day, and in these engagements over Rabaul, the USN claimed 50 aircraft kills. Trials were flown against an A6M5, and this showed that the Hellcat was faster at all altitudes than the Zero. The F6F outclimbed the Zero slightly. There was only a slight increase above 14,000 feet. Below 14,000 feet the Zero climbed faster. And the Hellcat the Hellcat rolled faster, above 235 miles an hour. The A6M could easily outturn the F6F, especially at low speeds, and US Army training manuals stated the fact that you should never dogfight with a Zero, because they are far more manoeuvrable. Hellcats were the major US Navy fighter type involved in the Battle of the Philippine Sea, where such a large amount of Japanese aircraft were destroyed that the Navy aircrews nicknamed the battle the Great Marianas Turkey Shoot. The F6F accounted for 75% of all aerial victories in the entire Pacific campaign, and by early 1944, radar-equipped Hellcat night fighters were entering service. Hellcat pilots claimed 56% of all US Navy and Marine air victories of the war. Roughly 270 Hellcats were lost in aerial combat. The average kill-to-death ratio was 19-1 on all claimed kills. The aircraft performed well against even the best Japanese opponents. They had a 13-1 kill ratio against the Zero, 9.5-1 against the Ki-84, and just under 4-1 against the Mitsubishi J2M Raiden. The F6F became the prime ace-maker aircraft in the American inventory, with over 300 Hellcat aces. The US successes were not only because of superior aircraft, but from 1942 onwards they faced increasingly inexperienced Japanese pilots, as well as the advantage of increasing numerical superiority. The British Fleet Air Arm received 1,263 Hellcats under the Lend-Lease Act. These saw action in Norway, in the Mediterranean, and in the Far East, and a Fleet Air Arm Hellcat is present in War Thunder as a British premium plane. After the war, the Hellcat was replaced by the F6F Bearcat. This was lighter, faster, more agile, more powerful, but it maintained a similar appearance to its predecessor. The F6F was the USN's primary carrier-based fighter for much of the Pacific War, and its impressive performance made it equal to or better than virtually all Japanese aircraft. And along with the F4U Corsair, it allowed the Americans to hold aerial superiority and deliver crushing attacks, largely unmolested, to the Japanese Navy, which dissolved their hold on the Pacific theatre and ultimately played a large role in America's final victory in the East. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Reach for the Sky. See you soon.